I really don't care what happens at all. I don't care. Everybody, they tiptoe around with this social media, but what y'all don't get is that it be real consequence for y'all little flexes, y'all quick flexes for $300 that you need. It be consequence.
Stop scrolling because the latest drama between Iman Shumpert and Teyana Taylor has left fans completely speechless. For weeks, the internet had been buzzing quietly, not exploding all at once, but simmering. Viewers were speculating, commenting, and replaying social media posts over and over, trying to piece together what was really happening behind the scenes. Every caption, every interview clip, every subtle change in tone was examined under a microscope. And most people believed they already knew how this would end. Fans assumed Iman would stay silent, that he would continue co-parenting behind the scenes, choosing peace over public conflict. They assumed Teyana's voice would dominate the narrative, shaping public opinion while he remained in the background. But nobody expected what happened next. Because when Iman finally spoke, everything changed overnight. His words weren't loud, they weren't messy. There were no screenshots, no accusations, no emotional outbursts. Instead, his response was calm, controlled, and devastatingly precise. And somehow, that precision hit harder than any public rant ever could. Within minutes, social media erupted as fans tried to process exactly what he said and, more importantly, what it implied. The story people thought they understood suddenly felt incomplete. The tension didn't start that day. It began weeks earlier, quietly building beneath the surface. Teyana had shared posts, comments, and statements that seemed harmless at first glance. But longtime followers noticed the subtle shifts, a certain edge in her tone. A hint of disappointment here, a passive remark there. Nothing explosive, nothing overt, but enough to make people wonder what wasn't being said. For casual viewers, it looked like typical celebrity tension, the kind of thing that trends briefly and fades. But for those who followed Teyana and Iman's journey from the beginning, this felt different. These aren't strangers. These are two people who built a life together, who share a child, and whose relationship has always existed under intense public scrutiny. When personal emotions spill into public spaces like that, fans don't just watch, they analyze, debate, and take sides. As speculation mounted, the story slowly crept toward its breaking point, and through it all, Iman remained silent. Unlike Teyana, who has never shied away from expressing herself, Iman chose restraint. He didn't respond to rumors. He didn't defend himself online. He didn't engage with commentary or feed the speculation machine. At first, fans applauded him. They called him mature, responsible, focused on protecting his daughter from public chaos. But as the silence stretched on, the tone began to change. Why wasn't he saying anything? Was he accepting the narrative being formed about him? Was he choosing peace, or was he being pushed into a corner? With every passing day, anticipation grew, and what fans didn't realize was that Iman wasn't avoiding the conversation. He was preparing for it. When he finally spoke, it wasn't to stir drama. It was to reframe everything. His response didn't come as a rant or reveal. It came as perspective. He spoke about how two people can experience the same events in completely different ways. About how public narratives rarely capture the full truth. About the danger of forming conclusions without context, and suddenly fans were forced to pause. There was a noticeable shift in the reaction. Some were stunned by the clarity and emotional intelligence in his words. Others were uncomfortable, realizing how quickly they had chosen sides without hearing him at all. It wasn't a clapback in the traditional sense. It was a masterclass in restraint. What made his response so powerful wasn't what he said outright, it was what he didn't say, he didn't attack. He didn't accuse. He didn't attempt to embarrass anyone. Instead, he allowed his calm tone to do the work. Each sentence felt intentional, carefully chosen to present his truth without escalating conflict. Almost immediately, fans began revisiting old interviews, videos, and moments they had previously overlooked. Conversations once dismissed as casual suddenly felt loaded. Comments that once seemed harmless took on new meaning. Iman's response reframed the past without directly rewriting it. The internet reacted fast. Clips of his statements spread across Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Comment sections exploded with debate. Some praised him for his maturity and emotional control, calling his response refreshing in a space dominated by chaos. Others criticized him, saying he was being too calculated or vague. But regardless of opinion, one thing was undeniable: his voice could no longer be ignored. And then there was Teyana's reaction, or lack of one. Fans expected a response, a post, a story, something, but instead there was silence. No acknowledgement, no rebuttal, no clarification. And in today's social media culture, silence is never neutral. Speculation intensified. Was she processing what he said? Was she choosing not to engage for the sake of their daughter? Or was she planning her next move carefully? Every post she shared afterward was scrutinized. Every absence was noted. The story deepened, becoming less about a single statement and more about the tension hanging in the air. As days passed, fans dug deeper. Old footage resurfaced. Interviews were replayed. Subtle expressions, pauses, and body language were analyzed. Frame by frame, what once seemed trivial now felt significant. The narrative grew more complex, layered with years of shared history, emotion, and unresolved wounds. Social media became a live forum of debate. Some stood firmly with Teyana, believing her emotions had been misunderstood or minimized. Others rallied behind Iman, praising his calm, precise response. But most people landed somewhere in the middle, recognizing that this wasn't a simple right or wrong situation. It was human. This wasn't about winning an argument online. It was about two people navigating co-parenting, personal growth, and unresolved emotions under constant public observation. And that's what made it so compelling. Iman didn't directly criticize Teyana, but fans noticed the subtle digs. His words hinted at inconsistencies, at narratives that had taken shape without full context. He didn't expose details, he challenged assumptions. And that restraint became the story itself. Threads appeared analyzing every sentence he spoke. TikTok creators broke down tone and phrasing. Twitter debates raged for hours. The situation had evolved far beyond a celebrity disagreement. It became a collective experience, with fans actively participating in the interpretation. At its core, this wasn't just a clapback. It was a lesson. Iman's response showed that defending yourself doesn't require destruction. That calm can be louder than chaos. That perspective can change a narrative without tearing someone else down. And Teyana's silence, intentional or not, added another layer, reminding people that not every response needs to be immediate or public. Together, their actions created something emotionally resonant and deeply relatable. A story about restraint, communication, and the complexity of shared history. And while the internet continues to speculate, analyze, and wait for the next move, one thing is certain. After Iman's calm but powerful response, the narrative shifted. Fans are no longer just reacting, they're reflecting. And everyone is watching closely, wondering what will come next. Will Teyana respond? Will more context emerge? Or will both continue letting their words and their silence speak for themselves? The story isn't over. But the moment Iman spoke, everything changed. And the internet hasn't stopped listening since.